Hello.
Whoops, we are live. Welcome, everybody. Oh my gosh.
Shocker, that's what happens when you turn it on.
Yeah. The
That moment of
pre-show
silence was brought to you by the School for the Deaf. Thank you for supporting our show.
Oh my gosh. The pre-show was just a little out of this world for me. And so I think we're going to talk about how to deal with stress, right? Because I'm going to put that as our banner.
I don't know. After our 10-minute pre-show, I've got nothing left. I'm just.
We talked about diet. We talked about pineapples being good for you. We talked about all kinds of things.
We talked about the importance and the decorative aspect of gnomes.
And upside down cakes, pineapple preferably.
Okay.
All right.
I just got that.
And Scott Schilling doesn't know if he shouldn't be here today, but I'm so grateful he's here.
Pretty sure I'm not.
I'm gonna make him
You
a
can't because
sweater.
you're the only wholesome one here.
It's all
Yeah, you are.
Only you can pre-record. If only you record the pre-show, it's a whole different story. But we didn't.
That's
so.
right.
Yeah. Well, that's what we need to do is just release the pre-show in as its own show.
That's right.
You know,
I
we should
think-
do the pre-show the first 10 minutes of the real show and pretend like we're not on the real show. And then all of
Doesn't
a
work
sudden,
that way.
That's what I think we're gonna.
Oh, that's-
I think that's what we're gonna do. Is I think
That's
next
very
week we get a
confusing.
link. We get a link
know-
to talk first, and then we got to go to the other show. I don't know.
Here's the answer. In the ad for the show, say join 5 minutes early, and we will turn the cameras on 5 minutes before the show starts. Anybody who wants to watch it can watch it. And then we'll just start the thing when the show starts. That way it's all one continuous thing.
I don't know.
And the
Or it's
replay
just
will have
an
it in there too.
there you
It's
go.
less confusing. I think that's
Yeah.
a great idea. Scott
Just, if you want to
Jones.
tune in early. So we're going to talk about stress, people, and this is actually a good topic. I'm in a hotel room in Orlando right now, and there's no stress here for me. But I'm working with airline workers right now, and
stress
training
there.
them about what's that?
No stress there.
Oh yeah. These are the people that spend their days getting yelled at, bitched at for things that are not in their control.
Right.
Are they in the control of the bosses and CEOs? Maybe, possibly. But you've got somebody at your counter and they're standing there, and all you get most of the day in airlines is people upset because their planes are late, because of this, because of that, because they're getting bumped from a flight. This isn't something that ticket taker, if you will, has made a decision on, but they've still got to deal with the irate person. And number one, when dealing with any situation like that, is controlling your own stress levels and taking care of you first. Self-care first, then help somebody else. In airline terms, you put your mask on first before you help the next person.
Which, by the way, I want to take real quick to report that all 53 people last week got home safely to Miami, and I'm just thankful to say that. So, thanks for the airlines getting them home. So I just
That's
wanted
fantastic.
To yes.
That's
So,
the airlines and all the other people, there's a lot of people involved
absolutely.
making that happen.
Absolutely.
Those are the moments when you say, now people are doing the right thing. So that's really good. But dealing with stress, I mean, whether it's day to day, whether it's standing in line at the grocery store, and somebody with 12 items is in the 10 item or less line in front of you, or dealing with stress of a job, or dealing with stress of bills, or stress of relationships, or raising children. There's all sorts of stressors, and there's not like a simple answer. Everybody you can do breathing techniques and stuff. If you don't practice regular self-care, sooner or later, stress will get you. And it'll become anxiety, it'll become anger, it'll become a lot of different things. I think of it like a pressure cooker. Everybody's in a pressure cooker. And there's a thing on top of the pressure cooker that relieves the pressure, so that it can take so much, but it can't take much more, and you got to relieve some. You always have a choice when you relieve that pressure, but if you don't do it, you will not have a choice when the thing's going to blow up. So it's so important that we deal with our stress. You don't ignore stress, and you take care of yourself. There's a lot of different ways that I do it, but I'd love to hear everybody else. I'll give you my simplest solution for me for stress is music. Music has an absolute calming thing about it. It lights up more parts of your brain. It's been scientifically proven. It lights up more parts of your brain than any drug ever developed. It is absolutely therapeutic. I don't suggest death metal, but whatever works for you works for you. For me, if I'm in a spot and I need to chill out, I listen to some Beatles. I listen to Beach Boys. I dare somebody to listen to the Beach Boys and not feel calm and happy. Just find your jam and use that. It's a fantastic therapeutic method. You don't have to pay a specialist for it, and it's completely at your control and at your fingertips at all times. So just a little key on stress. But I'd love to hear how everybody deals with their stress and what they tell other people about stress. I'd love to hear it. And Scott, you're in the middle, so let's start with you, brother.
Well, what fun. That's so stressful being in the middle. No, I think
Deal with it.
Yeah, that's right.
I missed
I
your
think
call.
the biggest,
Sorry.
the biggest thing
I
is
know
really
you're live.
What was that?
interesting. I
That was
think
you,
the
Lynn.
biggest thing is understanding that ultimately it's all a choice. And if you allow it to build, it's a choice to allow it to build as well. I think one of the things that you'll find as you get older is it's just not really worth it. You know, if you look back in different situations in your life and you look at, you know, maybe periods of time where you got upset about certain things and you go, what the hell was I thinking? The chances are you probably weren't. You know, you were reacting, responding, you weren't really thinking. And, you know, as you've been around and as different experiences happen throughout your life, I think you learn to become more grateful and more calm about various things. I mean, it's been interesting because over the last couple of days, this has actually been a topic that's come up multiple times as far as how do you handle these things? And why not work to be at peace? You know, we've got a world that's a little nutty right now, as an understatement. And the reality is, you're not going to solve it by getting nuttier. It just, hate begets hate, and bombs beget bombs. I mean, it just, until somebody says, I got a bigger one and you watch, I'll obliterate you. And then how'd that work for everybody? Probably not so well. Right. And so, I mean, there's got to be a place where you come to, it's just not worth getting into that. And, you know, if we could all share kindness, and in one of the what now wisdoms that I just recorded is learn to become unoffendable for greater quality relationships. Is just why we choose, you know, to be offended by something. You know, I mean, there was a lot of talk earlier. If you didn't see the pre-show, thank God you didn't see the pre-show. But the fact is, the chances are somebody could have been offended by that if they chose to be. Mm-hmm. But you still have to choose to be. You know, everybody's having fun and doing whatever. Why be offended by it? You know, I mean, if you don't like it, then you choose to remove yourself from the situation or things like that. You don't have to play. Nobody's making you play, right? Mm-hmm. So again, I think a big part of stress release these days is just, I agree with you, Scott. I start my day with, I put on big red Sony bass beat special headphones and listen to music. And I typically listen to Christian music. I listen to inspirational music as I'm working out, and through that entire period, and it just sets the day. And at any time, I think you can take that because the vibration, you know, just it sends that calming nature to your heart and to everything else. I think a big part of it is choices in making decisions to just not play in the mess. You know, I said to a woman from South Africa yesterday, she said, I'd really like to have you on my podcast. I said, I'd love to be on your podcast. She said, you don't even know me. I said, well, you don't know me, but you're asking me. And so if you're asking me, I say yes. And she said, well, don't you want to learn what it's all about? I said, I'm sure it's going to be awesome. And she goes, how do you know that? And I said, well, you wouldn't have reached out and asked if it wasn't going to be awesome. And I said to her, now this happens to be a Black female South African woman. And I said, one of my favorite lines of all time was Ben Carson when he said, as a brain surgeon, when I cut the top of the head open and I go to I go to work on somebody's brain, they're all exactly the same. Can't tell whether it's a man or a woman or black or white or anything. So we're more the same than we are different. And I think the biggest part is if we would just kind of understand that and say, you know what, we're really all the same. We've been culturalized differently, maybe.
Right.
But isn't that the interesting part, that we could learn from each other as well? So I think it's about choices and just choosing to be calm.
Absolutely. Scott, that's one of those moments that came out of 9/11 when they showed the pictures in the videos of people coming out of the ash, all colored gray, all just covered, and everybody helping everybody. And it wasn't a matter of, oh, the black guy's helping the white guy and the Mexican guy's helping it. It was person in person. That's all it was. And it grayed everything out. It turned everything, and the shades of gray is all we've got. That's all we've got. So everybody's the same. You're right. I do want to, before I let you out of the center square, I want to ask you one question, though.
Yes, sir.
I'm sure you get this. Because you mentioned power and choice. There's a lot of people that truly believe, they may have a desire to want to change, but they truly believe they don't have the power to do things differently or to de-stress or to control themselves or their lives. How do you address that when people say that to you? Because I know a lot of people say it to me. Yeah, but that's different. I can't change that. What do you say to them?
Well, I would say one of the processes that I suggest is take your life, whatever your age is. Let's say you're 60. Take the first 20 years, second 20 years, third 20 years, and look at accomplishments that you've had during those years, and you'll see how you modify and how you change over time. And then also go out into the next 5 years of what you will accomplish, and you'll see that you naturally you evolve over time. And there was a period of time where you can always find something good that you've done, and it's probably an event that you've responded to. Again, the equation is E plus R equals O. It's not the events in your life that determine the outcome of your life. It's the events plus your response to those events that determines the outcome. So 9/11 is a great example. 9/11 was a horrendous event. Well, some people came out just barely surviving, and some people came out thriving. Yeah. Well, what was the difference? It was the attitude they took, the choices they made, the decisions they made, the people they surrounded themselves with, and they said, we desire to come together as a country. Now, if you don't think after 9/11 there were some people that hated some people, you're wrong. There was that decision too.
Yeah.
But there was more of, I think, there was more of people coming together and rallying than there was the other. So again, it's not the events, it's the events plus the response. You can have whatever outcome you want. If you want to sit and wallow in the mud, God bless you. Have fun. Not the place I'm going to be.
Same thing goes with 2020.
Yeah. It really does. Some people's businesses are the best they've ever been. Some people got hammered into the dirt. But some of the people that got hammered into the dirt are now rebounding and thriving again. Right. All of those are ultimate choices.
Love that. Thanks, Scott. Appreciate it, man.
You're awesome.
Brilliant stuff.
Thank you for
so
being
perceptive of you to notice.
Thank you for pulling us out of the
pineapple situation.
Out of the gutter?
And the pre-show confusion.
Dilemma.
Experience.
Who's up next, Lynn?
Let's put Barry in there.
Okay.
Speaking of pineapples.
Yeah. The flip side of things.
So Scott, you mentioned pressure cookers earlier, and it's funny because I had a flashback to when I was a kid. My mum had a pressure cooker, and the old ones before the new fangled ones came out. The valve, the pressure was controlled by a weight that was on top of the escape valve, and the weight had rings around it, and you can adjust. You can take rings off to make it lighter or heavier, so you can control the amount of pressure before it would go off. And I didn't think about it until recently about how that's the gradation we have to choose or to allow pressure to get to us. Because the thing is, when you said about pressure, different things you go through. I live in LA. We have one thing that really creates pressure. It creates stress, the 405.
Mm-hmm.
Just to be clear. I mean, we've had road rage, but all sorts of things happening here. And being able to be centered when you're in the middle of traffic on the 405 and you have a desire to get somewhere, that becomes a challenge, which for me makes the point, is that I was thinking about stress being something that is within our control or outside of our control. Because we usually get stressed over certain things. And I would venture to say that most things we get stressed about are things we can't control.
Yeah.
If we can't control it, we can do something about it. If we can't control it, why are we fighting it? I mean, that there is an equation where you just go, no stress. Because if it's out of your control, you can't fix it, change anything else. What you can change, as Scott was saying, is your attitude, your response to that.
Exactly.
Which gives you back your power. So for me, that was one of the things that was so clear about stress being governable, meaning that stress is not something that we have to put up with. It's a choice we make. And if we're feeling stressed, my question to anybody who's feeling stressed is, what are you choosing instead of being free? What are you choosing instead of being relaxed? What are you choosing instead of peace? Because most people tend to not think that way. I know, having dealt with quite a few of those people, especially recently, what's going on.
Yeah.
Is the recognition is that how can you be set? Because for me, what about stress is I'm off center. The best way I can get back to being calm.
We forget there's a gauge.
Let's forget we have control, dominion, freedom.
Yeah.
When we can be back to being centered again, and in relationships especially, that comes up because we start to get stressed because something our partner did that we can't control, and we get upset with them. So when it's something that's within our dominion, our freedom to choose what we do, first of all, we don't have to be stressed because we go, oh, that's up to me to do something about. But secondly, we can come back to center, whether it's through meditation or music. My thing is getting out of the house, going for a walk, going for a hike, changing the situation, because a lot of times what's stressing is being stuck in something where I can't find a solution. I've been working on a project for a while now that's coming to the point where it's now working, but it worked best when I was away from it. When I was hiking, ideas would download again. Oh, I can do this. Oh, great. That now fixes that. But when I was sitting on the computer half the time, I'd be like, this isn't working. I need to change my environment. It's like having altitude to get a better attitude. That sort of idea. So
it goes with that flight simulation there.
Indeed.
Barry, I like how you put a point on that. Like Scott started, then you put a point on it about no matter what the situation is, you might not have control over the actual event, but how you handle it or what you do with it, you have complete control. And
Absolutely.
If you're sitting on the 405, and I've visited, I've been there, and it's not like anything else in the world. I get it. But if I'm stuck in traffic, now I could either sit there and I could stew for the 45 minutes that I've just gone 1 mile, or I can think of it as I've been given the gift of time. Every time somebody says, have you called your brother? I don't have time to call my brother. Have you listened to this new song? I don't have time to listen to music. We're given a gift in that if we use that gift, now all of a sudden our perspective changes. And it's like, thank God I was stuck because I talked to my brother. I haven't talked to him in a year. And thank God we had that time to talk. There's so many things we could do. You are never completely powerless as long as you can control your own perspective, right?
Right. Yeah. In fact, in my grad school program, one of the memorable things to remember is we learned the term basically that is how you relate to the issue is the issue. The issue is happening. Mm-hmm. What you do about it is what you can control, and that's where you do the work. And that's the freedom, again, comes back to is you get to choose and make a choice, because most people think they have no choice. And there's a thing I remember doing a seminar many, many years ago about the difference between have to and choose to. Mm-hmm. Have to is where you have no choice. Like you must take out the trash. Do you really? Well, yeah, if I don't take out the trash, this will happen. Oh, and if that happens, then this will happen. All these different things about, well, if the trash isn't taken out, the house gets smelly. There'll be ants, there'll be bugs. So are you saying you have to take out the trash, or do you choose to because you don't want the house to smell? That gives you power back. So it's shifting perspective is where you get your power back. It's that simple.
Absolutely. The words, the verbiage is important. For years, they taught people through certain programs that are still very popular today with alcohol and drugs, you can't drink, you can't use, you can't drink, you can't. I'm like, stop that. Stop with the can'ts. How about if you just say, I choose not to?
There you go.
It changes the perspective on everything. The minute somebody says you can't do something, or the minute I put a negative on it, I want to do it.
Yeah.
Even if I don't want to do it, I want to do it.
Yeah.
Actually,
All right,
one last thing.
Sorry,
one thing I want to put as PS on this, because on Sunday, for those who don't know, I go to Agape Spiritual Center in LA, which is non-denominational, inclusive spiritual center. Stevie Wonder has been coming every so often, like just to listen to the service. He shows up now once quite frequently. On Sunday, because of what happened in Israel and everything else going on, he decided to go up on stage and sing. And so it's not something he does, not something, he shows up quite regularly, just a congregant, sit in the audience. But he came up on stage and said that he did some Google search recently, or some other searching app. And he said that there are currently 32 wars in the world.
Wow.
Not just the 2 ones we know about, there are 32 going on. And he said the thing is he wanted to do was, and this is the thing, it's like as soon as that happened, we're like, oh, getting tense, getting stressed. He said the thing is what he wanted to do was sing one of his songs that he wrote when he was 24 years old. Came off, I think, Superstition album, which was Love's in Need of Love Today. And when he sang it, we were all singing along, like it was just changed everything about his atmosphere. All our energy shifted. We relaxed. We became happy. We started hugging each other. It was like the energy shift just from that, like you were saying about music.
Yeah.
His desire and input in that was so powerful. It changed everything. So, yeah, music helps.
I gotta get that.
It shifted the dog's little spirits.
All right, who let the dogs out? Who's up next?
John.
I am probably the worst person for this topic because I have never used this word honestly in my life, and I don't know why. I just don't believe in it. I think if you and not people get stressed, whatever, and just writing down the comments. Things go bad, no one's happy. Things go good, write a letter, write a note. It makes yourself feel better. You know what I mean? You do something, and and again, I got a wife and 6 kids, man. I should be dead by now. It's not going to happen. I can't believe in just waking up and being. I don't even use the word. When things go right.
You use a 4-letter word. You go to work. That's a 4-letter word.
Yeah, but you know what? If you're not happy hanging out with the people you're hanging out with, change your group. I'll give you a perfect example. Kellen Ann was on my meeting this morning. She came into my team meeting. She talked about gratitude. She talked about amazing things. I know she brought people from feeling in the mortgage business and wasn't well to feeling better about themselves. Set your day right. Barry said it's the choices you make. Man, avoid stress. That's the first time I think I've used that word in forever because I don't believe in it. I believe there's a way to avoid it. I believe if you're headed down that path, find a way to get off that path, man. It's forget it. If you're in a bad mood, hang out with cool people. That's why we're here. You know what? Again, the pre-show, which we're not bringing up. I won't. But you know what?
It's the playground.
What I found is people that bitch and moan about everything. You know what they're doing? They're hanging out with people that bitch and moan about everything.
Right.
You're a magnet. You're a magnet. You feel bad. All of a sudden, you're going to be hanging out with. I probably hang out with some of the worst people in the world. I had a bachelor party last Friday, which I haven't had in 30 years, with some of my buddies from the fire department. It was the best Friday night we ever had. We left kicking it around with fun stories. Nothing bad happened. But again, you're hanging out with people that are positive. They're fun. They're ready to go. I have a friend of mine, and all he does on Facebook is bitch and moan and bitch and moan. And when I look at his comments, that's all it is. People that they gravitate. Man, it's up to you. And we've all said it. It's up to you. Wake up every day. You're going to have a great day. You don't want to have a great day? Guess what? You're going to hang out with a bunch of kids in the playground. They're going to have a shitty day with you. So just do it. And if you are, reach out to people that can help you. Don't feel like you're by yourself.
Oh, John, I love you.
Yeah.
Excellent,
bring
John.
it on. That's awesome. That's a great point. Now, Miss Kellyanne.
Okay, I have 7 points to make.
Okay, go
God.
right. You go,
That
girl.
was so specific.
Okay, I'm ready to count. I'm ready to count.
Scott, before I forget, I have glitter in my brain, so my brain is not like anybody else's.
Wait, but first of all, I have a funny Kellyanne story. Not to interrupt you.
Oh, Jesus. Don't tell you to say this again.
I'll tell the story. I told the story. So Kellyanne and I, she reached out to me on Facebook. I said, hey, I'd love you to come on, be part of the team. Let's do it. Talk about your gratitudes. So this was Thursday. So I sent her a gratitude message. I texted her a gratitude message on Friday. Have a great day. Look forward to seeing you. Thinking I'll get a gratitude.
You didn't say look forward to seeing you. You said, hope you have a great Friday. And that was it.
Okay, that's enough. You know the response I got?
What?
Who is this? Okay.
You knew who contacted me.
Listen, John. She's been dating lately. Maybe she thought she was swiping right or left, so she was on her defensive mode. Just leave her alone. Give her some grace here, okay?
I had to give her a hard time this morning before the meeting about all her gratitude and everything she does. And then my response was, who is this?
She was in the dating mode. Just leave her alone. Just give her some grace.
Just a bunch of numbers.
Could have been, who is this? I'm grateful I got a message.
Yeah. Yeah.
Talk about stress.
Hey, I don't want a stranger telling me to have a good day, all right? I want to know who you are. I don't need that kind of pressure from people I don't know.
And then show the appropriate gratitude.
It was the first text we exchanged, so it's not like you text me.
Okay, I'll see you on Bumble. I'll see you later.
All right.
Okay.
So let's go to Kellyanne's top seven things to do when you're losing your shit.
No, I only have 3 things, but a couple just comments. So, who's talking about Sedona? Scott, were you? Was Scott talking about Sedona?
That was a few weeks ago.
That was
There was a conversation about Sedona. Yes.
You were talking about the 20 years, 40 years, 60
years. Yeah. Okay.
My comment is when I went to Sedona, we went to this very spiritual, this really cool place. It was ancient, and they had this big wheel on the ground, and the wheels represented the first 20 years of your life, the second 20. It was really cool. So that really has nothing to do with gratitude. But I just had a memory, and it was good. Okay, how do I deal with stress?
Wait, Kellen. If that was number 1, I can't wait till we get to number 7.
No, we've done 1 and 2. Okay, so
it's downhill from here.
There's no stress here whatsoever.
Well, we may as well talk about the pressure cooker now. So, because you talked about you hold it in, and it's a pressure, and it builds and builds and builds. Well, I did that. I held it in for 18 years, and boy, did I explode. Okay, so I recommend everybody let it out because it's not pretty. Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay, now we're gonna get to the gratitude or the stress part. To combat it, first thing every morning, I start my day with gratitude. Whether it's writing in my journal, I go outside and meditate and just think I'm really happy about, I'm grateful for everything that I have. But when it comes and you're not expecting it, the thing that I do is I call it a reset. Okay. Now you guys thought I was joking. If I'm sitting in my office and I'm feeling stressed, I put my crown on. Okay. Right away. I feel
beautiful.
Nice. No, but I know it's a psychological thing, but I put this bad boy on and I forget about what I'm upset about. It causes me to stop, to think, to reflect. And sometimes I journal and I do look good in it. Yeah, I do. Okay.
And that's where the glitter came from that's in your brain.
Yep. Glitter.
Now, the other thing I do to reset, which is what I did today, is I swim every day. And no matter what the temperature is, and today was a reset.
Polar bear.
I lost the feeling in my feet. But they say that the cold plunges are good for you, and it does a nervous reset. It does a mental reset for me. So what I do is I reset, whether it is putting my silly crown on or going for a swim, or like what Barry says, go for a walk, get out of the desk, get out of the house, go for a drive. So that's basically how I deal with stress. Now, the 7th thing is a tip. Okay. When I fly now, I carry gift cards, Starbucks, Amazon. And when I go to check in for my airport or my flight, I give them to the people that are checking us in, because they've had a hell of a day. And so I always have gift cards for them. So just a little tip.
That's wonderful.
That's a great idea.
Yeah,
and they're so appreciative. They love, like, I ask them, I go, do you want Amazon or Starbucks? And if they have kids, they want the Amazon. If they're single, they usually want.
I'll just give them cash.
But there's a reward in that for you too, because when they light up, doesn't it light you up?
Yes, it makes me feel good. Yeah.
People don't understand. It's like doing kind things isn't for other people all the time. Sometimes it's just to elevate ourselves and to feel good. And,
well, it's like writing my thank you notes.
We all win. I
have fun writing my thank you notes. They make me feel good. I know I'm sending some joy or happiness to somebody. That gives me, I think, more joy than what they get when they receive them. Right. But I don't
agree. The plunge into cold water is it's wonderful. It's revitalizing. That's what my first wife said as she was holding my head underwater. I think that's what she was saying, was that this is really, she felt wonderful after she put me in that water.
It took 23 minutes for me to feel my feet again, though, today.
Wow.
Not lying.
Hey, last but certainly not least.
Hey, Sandy.
Hello. So I'm a little on the analytical side. So I agree with all of you. Like, I start with gratitude. If I'm in a stressful situation, I disengage from the stressful situation if it's coming at me, if it's something that I can't control. Like if it's somebody else's stress that's trying to, they're trying to push on to me, I'm more analytical. So I'll say, okay, is this something that I can help and I can control? And I come up with a strategy. So I feel less stressful if I know that it's something in my control. Now, if it's not in my control, what I like to do is pray, meditate. I believe in the mind, body, spirit. So that means in my mind, I try to say, what can I come up with strategy wise? And then spirit wise, I pray. And then physical, I think exercise is the key also to your stress. Like right now, I feel really fatigued for the last 2 days, had some, fatiguing stress. And I know it's because I haven't worked out. I know it's because I need to go exercise and work out. But again, releasing that, meditating, or praying it just helps to release that. And I tell my clients not to go to the unhealthy things because people will want to pick up a drink or they'll want to pick up a vice that is not healthy. And so I try to steer them towards the healthy lane of dealing with stress and decide. And a lot of people, it's so interesting how people don't understand that stress sometimes isn't their own. Like they don't have to own it. Like it is actually somebody else's, but they take it on because that person tries to push it on them, or it is something that's not, I say, this is your vessel that you control. If you can't control anything out of it, then, either disengage from it or come up with a strategy, to help that other person, but it's not yours. Don't own it, so that's just my tip of it.
No, I love all that. That's great, Sandy.
And I love that Rex just came in when he did because, Scott, you can fill him in real quick. But I just want to say that Rex has had 2 or 3 different things today. And he wrote a nice post about the fact that could have been stressful. And he can do the synopsis of how he responded to that today. And he can chime in on the topic when you come from that point, Scott.
Welcome, Rex. We're talking about dealing with stress. Good ways to deal with stress, and we brought up things like music. We brought up things like controlling your response to stressful things that you don't have control over, but controlling your response and all those other things. I want to add one more thing before you start, though, because it's rattling around in there. Why is stress always labeled as bad? When the truth is, I enjoy a lot of stress. There's a lot of things that are stressful and exciting and nerve-wracking, like roller coasters or going to do a presentation the next morning and kind of that last minute, okay, do I have everything I need? Am I ready? And I'm feeling a little bit but it's a rush as well. Sometimes stress, we label it as bad, but we crave it a little bit because it's part of the excitement of doing things, is to have that little bit of anxious energy and stuff. But anyway, Rex, what do you think about that? I got a pineapple for you too, buddy.
Oh, very Selby pineapple.
And I just got to say, you look handsome also there, Rex. So just got to say that. So welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Oh,
He was late to the show. You don't have to kiss up to him now.
No, I don't. And I'm going to just say that on Friday, he's going to be on the new Lynn BS show.
That's
so
right.
bright side of things.
I just realized that I hadn't been picked on today, and now I know why.
Better late than never.
Right, I'm here. I'm here to do that. Great question. I've got a few minutes. I'm still doing the other thing, and we're going late tonight. It's the final day, so I've got to get back there. But
but thank you for stopping by.
Well,
thanks for coming in.
I just was on the road. I had to leave what I was doing, get on the road to take care of what happened this morning, and then drop somebody off, and then do the anyway. Why do we think stress is bad? Because for some people, they don't want what they get, and
yeah,
your muscles get larger by exercising them, and when you exercise them, they break down. The tissue breaks down, and then through a physiological, biological process, they grow. The oxygen is introduced, and the nutrients get in, and the toxins get out, and the whole thing, so that you can grow your muscles. The issue for most humans is Napoleon Hill said we're a broadcasting and a receiving station. And he likened, minds coming together in harmony is like batteries. So, if you had serial batteries, you've got more power with 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 of them than you do with one battery. But every battery, regardless, has a negative and a positive pole. Now, that's just what we call them in terms of charge, But guess what? We call events negative and positive too. They're really just events. The battery is just a battery, and the way that we categorize it is that this is a negative pole and this is a positive pole. The way we do it, there's night and there's day. Well, guess what? Night and day is part of one entire cycle. Like you have a left arm and a right arm, okay, or hopefully. But the point is that we label the battery as a negative and positive. We label events as good or bad or wanted or unwanted. And if there's something we don't want, then we tend to stress about it. We get worried about it. We get anxious about it. We get depressed about it. We get sad about it. We get resentful about it. We hate it. We don't want it. Well, those emotions are useful. I mean, think about it. If a bear came out at you in the woods that was hungry, you want that adrenaline burst. You want that you want to be afraid. You don't want to go, look at the bear. You want, you want to be appropriately afraid so that you can flee the bear. Now, when you flee the bear, hopefully you're looking where you're going so you don't knock yourself out or fall in a hole, and not looking back at the bear. But this is what we can do as humans. We look back at our past, and we have all sorts of bad feelings about it. We look back at an event, or we look forward to an event, but don't notice the pitfalls around it. And so we run headlong into, long story short, what I just said. It's things that we don't want, and we get emotional about them, and it piles up and it adds up. And the more that it adds up, the less physically well, the less mentally well, the less emotionally well we become, because we're constantly bathing ourselves in the neurochemicals of disorder or disease, as opposed to the ones for wellness and goodness. I mean, this is a layman's way of describing it, but it's essentially, there are things that are good for you and things that are not quite so good for you. But if you're going to run a relay race, that's stressful. For some people, going out and talking is stressful, but enjoyable and rewarding. But they get nervous in advance, or they get excited and eager and enthused about it. It just depends on how they label it. So there are many different ways of approaching any of the situations in the world. The best possible way to do it is to be neutral about it, or to celebrate it, because if you judge it as good or bad, you think it makes it so. You get what you say you get. Well, if you say what you have what you say. If I say this is stressful, guess what? It is stressful. If I say this is unwanted and horrible and awful and terrible and I'm no good, guess what I get? I get the repercussions of that. I get the effect of that. I get to feel that, because why? I'm declaring it. That's really no different than going, let there be light. But when that "let there be light" statement was part of the the firmaments and the oil, the earth from the seas and all that, and everything was good. It was declared good. And our problem is we don't declare everything good. So today I had a situation arise that was unexpected, which of course would be what situations usually are. If you knew it was happening, it's not really that much of a deal. But I had a situation that took me by surprise. I had to do some things about it. I had to make some changes in what I was doing and where I was going and what. But the whole point of it is like, wow, this is an adventure. If you were to go on the journey in the Amazon, you don't want to be eaten by piranha, but you do want to have things that are unexpected and that are delightful. Oh, look at the volcano. Oh, look at this. Oh, look at that. That's what life is about, is unexpected things. So the more you can embrace whatever's going on, the more you can celebrate it, even if it's bad. And we have lots of cliches for it. Like we don't have breakdowns, we have breakthroughs. Perfect. This reframing of it is the thing that helps us get through these things and helps us alleviate those less than glorious chemicals and to feel better about stuff. So it really is a mindset thing. It's stop judging and just start celebrating. Go, you know what? I don't know what is in this, but I know it's good. Or as Hill would say, there's a seed of equivalent opportunity inside of every adversity. But you have to look for it. And then when you find it, you get to nurture it. Seeds don't, yes, some seeds, but at any rate, the point is you're in charge of your life or you're not. And so whatever happens, you celebrate it or don't. That's up to you. And if you want to be a curmudgeon, be a curmudgeon.
I'm gonna put you on the same spot at the beginning of the show. Hipster Scott actually shared something very similar about you have the power to interpret or to do things or to look at things any way you want. There's a lot of people out there that don't believe that they have power to do that. And I don't know if you come across those people
who just
they don't put themselves in that mindset.
Up and hope that everything works out in the end, because what else is there? If you get up in the morning to go to the bathroom because you have to go to the bathroom, that's something that's you can say, well, I don't want to. I don't know that I could. You know what I mean? I mean, I'm being extra hard on people. It is true. It is true. Some people don't want what they have and don't believe that they can do it.
Right.
And they'll always be right, whichever the way.
That's
what
right.
you say you have is what you have.
Like Henry Ford said, if you think you can or if you think you can't, you're right. It's all a matter of your own power, your own perspective. I like to, the quote from Richard Bach is behind every problem, there are gifts. And that's why we have problems, so we can receive those gifts. Or you can deny the gifts and just focus on the problem. It's all really up to you. It's really up to you.
Do we want to?
I can use the hammer this way or that way.
Right.
That way I like better.
Well, you say that, but my father actually did that with a hammer one time, and it wasn't good. He hit a wall and didn't know there was a metal vent behind the wall, and he hit the wall with a hammer, and it bounced back, and the claw hit him right in the forehead, and he ended up in the hospital.
So the lesson we have is there's a counterexample for every generalization.
Yeah, for sure.
Perfect.
So Scott, want to turn it around and have Rex say the last words in case Rex has to leave us?
I am going to have to leave you. Yeah.
I know.
Okay. Yeah.
I know.
Thank
you, Rex, for being here.
No, and I wanted to get here while I was driving, and not pay attention to the road, obviously, but look at my phone. And it kept telling me I couldn't use Safari and I couldn't use Chrome and I hated to do this. And when I I said, okay, I'll do it when I get home.
Well, let's do this on our final thoughts as we go around. I'd like everybody to share their favorite thing for self-care that kind of wash things away or to just focus on you, to de-stress, if you will. What is one of your favorite things to do? Just let's get to know each other a little bit on that as we go around for our final thoughts. Rex, what are your favorite things to do?
Celebrate, laugh, let go. What? Take a bath. Have fun, do whatever, but find a way to make it enjoyable. I mean, to me, it's not rocket science. It's do what the little things are that make you feel good, especially when there's a tough time around. Take that moment to instead of just being focused on the problem, as you said, to bathe yourself in something else that allows you to feel free. Because if you're constantly pushing the problem, you're constricted. There is that stress, and so you're not noticing all the other things around you. But if you stop and take a pause, if you breathe, if you go out and walk, if you skip, if you pet my dogs, for goodness sake. By the way, I don't want to steal anybody else's ideas here, so I better shut up.
I love you, Rex.
But the point is to just break the habit, break the pattern, and do something different. Give yourself a pause, and then refresh and relax. Be renewed by the transforming of whatever, and then come back.
I like how you said simple things, because some people think it has to be an earth-shattering thing to change your mindset. It's the simple things that do it. It's the easy things. It's the things that sitting and coloring with a coloring book can be the most relaxing thing in the world, right?
Well, right. And no, you're absolutely right. And I will part with this. People won't believe it, but there's enough physiological science to demonstrate that just the act of smiling will change it. Just curling your lips up, raising your eyebrows and your eyes, and putting a smile on your face is enough to start releasing those neurotransmitters and hormones for well-being. Now, the problem with people is they go, "Oh, it didn't work." Didn't work. Smile. It's like laughing. You don't go, "Ha." Well, maybe some people do, but but you laugh, and when you laugh, you change your oxygen. You hyperventilate a little bit, and when you do that, you're off balance. And when you're off balance is when you're the most natural, because the rest of the time you're trying to manage who you are. When you're laughing and you got a good belly laugh going, and you can't stop it, that's when you're the most authentic that you're ever going to be. And you're laughing too, which is a good thing.
You're absolutely right. We've got a whole group of off-balance people that can prove that right here.
Well, with that, I love every single one of you, and I thank you for
thank you.
I've got to run back to the other thing. Come join me over there when you're done here.
Yeah.
And thanks, Rex. We appreciate
thank you, Rex.
bro.
Love you so much.
Thanks, Rick.
See ya, Rex. All right. Okay. So Papa Rex is gone now. Let's have fun.
Well, it looks like Barry's in the middle.
Yes, Barry.
How's that happen? Was Rex he didn't steal thunder, but he did say a few things I was going to say too. But I'll go back to what I was going to start with, which is change your circumstance. The biggest thing people do, which I know I've done myself too many times, is when I get stressed, stay where I am. Doesn't change anything. So changing my space, like I was saying before, like walking away from the computer, going for a hike, going for a drive, go dance around the block or something, do something to change the energy. State changes what makes it happen. Like he was saying, like smile, like real smile, real laugh. State changes are the subtle things we can do, the very simple things we can do. They can change everything. And the biggest thing we don't do is do that. We get stressed and we hold on to stress, almost like it's some sort of, I want to say altruistic, but we have stress like something it's an honor system. Like you got to hold on to stress to prove you're doing the right things. Like, no. If you step back for a second, discover there's a way to go through where you want to go without stressing, you actually enjoy yourself. Why not? Enjoy the ride. So speed things up.
Love that. Miss
Awesome.
Sandy.
Hello. Well, I have a membership for reflexology. And when I start to feel like I need a break from whatever, it's an hour where you can't have your phone. They turn off the lights. It's spa music. That helps me. So it's something that I found is enjoyable, and I can unplug for an hour, whenever, So to me, those kind of things, self-care wise, like a pedicure, manicure, whatever. I know that a lot of people like that. And I think if you can just put this thing down, that can unplug a lot of stress for you in the first place. So that's my 2 cents.
I love
Absolutely. I like to eat spicy food, so I practice acid refluxology. It's a whole different thing.
There's a bill for that.
Yeah. But that takes 15 minutes or so. No. John.
I think the big thing and the big quote is vibe with your tribe, because there are so many people that have so many things in common with you, you need to tell them what's upsetting you. If you're hanging with them as a bunch of buds, man, there's a lot of things people have in common. Be open. You know what? It's tough to go to a stranger. If you've got good friends, do it. If you're stressing, do it. If there's a way to do it without making yourself feel vulnerable, I think that's a big thing. I think it's a really big thing. But if you're hanging out with your tribe, you guarantee you probably have 99% of things in common. So, enjoy yourself. Don't be afraid to express yourself, and don't be afraid to reach out for help.
Oh, I love that, John. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Mr. Hipster.
Scott.
Just so many great suggestions through the night and different things. But for me, the music really changes state for me. And I play loud music, and, I got it beaten through the headphones right into my brain, and so I enjoy it. It does that. But then getting a little workout with it, or one of the things at the, where I go work out in the morning, they've got massage chairs, they've got hydro beds, they've got vibe plates, and just doing that to your body, sitting in a massage chair for 10 minutes, sitting on a massage bed for 10 minutes, just again, a little bit of that self-care. It's okay to do the workout and the elliptical trainer and the lifting and all the other stuff too. But I do that with the, with the music going, and there's just something about it that, you just, even though you expend energy, you come out a little more refreshed and ready to go. The blood's flowing and you've changed that state. So, and again, I get into periods where I really listen to the lyrics of the music, and it's amazing how you can get into the feeling that whoever composed that music, the songwriter, what they were really working to do. And all of a sudden you start to, there's just some great lyrics that you can hang on and just that are so encouraging, and say, it's okay. We all go through this. We're all, we're going to have physical, mental, and emotional, and chemical stress in our life. That's natural. We're all in the midst of it. It's now, how do you release all those things from your body? Because those are the things that cause disease. And so if we don't get rid of those three things, we're going to have a problem. So you've got to take some action.
Absolutely.
I love you.
And I'm right there with you, brother, because the music is just, it is so universal, and there's something you can lean into. There's so many different genres. I mean, listen to country music, and if you're feeling stressed and sad, listen to some of the old country songs.
That's right. They lost their house, their car, their dog. They lost everything. You're doing pretty good.
Yeah. See, but the new country songs are different, because now that we have self-driving cars, they have to write country music about how their truck left them. So it's just,
My go-to is Thunderstruck, AC/DC.
Yep.
Oh, there you go.
That's the one
we've all got
for
those
me.
pump-up songs, those songs that we love. And every morning when I walk into my office, I tell my Alexa to play "Good Morning Starshine" from Oliver. Yeah. Oliver is the performer. Is from Hair, the musical Hair. Yep. And it just lights me up every morning. It lights me up. It's a good way to start my day.
Listen to the two cellos version of Thunderstruck. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's so good, isn't
it? Yeah.
Wow.
The two cellos.
Yeah.
Kellen.
Yes. I have 18 things I'd like to
We're doing a show.
You now have the top 18 list to wrap it up.
Here's 18. Now I'm just going to repeat what I said. What is important is to reset. I just wrote down some things that I do to reset, because I sometimes wear my crown even when I'm not stressed, just because I like wearing a crown. But I'll go swimming. I'll meditate. I will play my violin, and I'll write letters and things, gratitude letters. Those are the things that I do that make me feel nice.
If you could do all those at the same time, imagine swimming with your crown, writing letters. That would be
playing my violin.
Playing your violin.
Should be the new form of a mermaid or some sort.
I don't know. I think the cold water might do something to the strings.
Yeah.
it occurs to me, Lynn, that you have not shared your
I know Lynn
de-stressor.
hasn't
Right.
been.
Oh no, that's okay.
Oh,
not.
no.
Nobody gets out of this alive. Come on, you're up.
Oh well,
I'm
I've
going
been
to send you
studying.
a crown.
No,
They're fabulous.
I've been stressing over studying, and so but now I've got to go back to studying because the last 2 weeks I've been trying to get my name changed in order to take a stinking state test. So now I get to sign up and restudy again. So it's been one stress to another, and it's nobody likes to take a time test, right? So that's now I got to be faster in reading.
So how
And
are you dealing with it, Lynn? You're not answering the
how
question.
am I dealing with it?
How are you handling stress? This is the question.
Yeah, I know. How am I dealing with it? Well, just gonna. I have it in my head. If I have to take the test 10 times, I'm gonna take the test 10 times. There's just it. You go back. Oh, Alan didn't make it. Well, you're here in spirit, Alan.
I'm going to send you a crown, Lynn. It'll help.
No.
Wear it to the test. They'll like that.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Right. You're not supposed to take anything to a test. No. So it's just like you said. You gotta take things the way you can, and not worry about anything. I'll do the best I can, and that's about it. And like I don't like being timed, so not look at the time, but do the best I can. So there, just take it the way it comes. I mean, practice test has been great. They give you 2 hours, but then I realized, no, you get an hour and 15 minutes. So they've been giving me an extra 45 minutes. Well, that's not going to help me when I go take the test. So now I've just got to, go with my instinct and just know that if I know that 14 years ago when I took a test, I would have passed if I didn't take too long rereading other things. So I just have to know to carry along and go as fast as I can to take the test, at least finish the test.
Lynn, don't go fast. Don't go fast. That's the killer right there.
So, in other words, it's just like, but I've got to say to myself, it's okay if I don't pass the first time. Because the first time I took the test, I was trying to get a 100. I was always used to just, getting a perfect score. Now I got to remember, I don't have to get a perfect score. I just have to pass. Right. So, it's just a matter. And if I don't pass that first time, I just go back and retest it. So I'm giving myself permission to fail the test if I need to, and giving myself permission that I can go back and retest. So those are things that taking away the stress, and just study as much as I can. And it'll be interesting because it'll be 2 weeks from tomorrow. So it'll be like the day after. Yeah. So it'll be interesting. So like I said, it's going to be whatever. Either I'm going to know the stuff, and it's just a little trickery when you're dyslexic and you take little time to take tests. So I'm not going to worry about it. I just know where it'll be interesting, but I'm not going to stress about it like I normally would try, So
well, good luck. Keep us posted.
Yeah. Oh, I will. I will.
Great.
So
this whole group, we're all, without getting too weird on it, we're all blessed. Everyone in this group has ability, power, and possibility in their lives. And not everybody out there has that in the positions they're in. I've lived in a life, and I'm sure all of us have been stuck in some situations where there was no excitement, there was no change, there was nothing to surprise me. It was the same pain day after day. And living that way is horrible. The chances that the thing that I wake up in the morning and say, what's today going to bring me? And I actually say that with true excitement and true gratitude that I have ability, power, and possibility in my life. And I can do anything I need to do and survive anything I need to survive, and I'm going to be fine. I don't ever want to go back to that safe life where I'm never surprised and I know everything. I don't want that life. I love this. And this is what living's all about. So sometimes when we're looking at stress and we're looking at situations that we don't like, maybe we need to sit there and say, at least I'm here. Mm-hmm. And I've been where I've not shown up. There's big leaders that strike out, big leaguers in baseball. Go Phillies, by the way. Who strike out in front of all these fans. You got 30,000 people. They strike out. Hey, there's my man, the fanatic. There we go. There's people that strike out in front of those fans, and the fans all boo them, and their heads down. But you know what? They got a possibility to step up again and maybe get the hit the next time, or maybe the next time. But at least they're there and they're doing their dream and they're doing it. Sometimes we got to look at things for what they really are, and it's stop looking at all the negative.
Right.
There's so much good stuff, and you guys, I appreciate every one of you every week. You guys are fantastic.
Yeah, and on the finished note is I gotta say, I mean, I did pass the class, which was big deal, and I mean, I took 70 hours of studying to pass the class, so I did pass the class, and I should be happy about that. And from what I heard is if you pass the class, you should be able to pass the test. But it's only 2 weeks that was wasted on getting accepted to take the class. So, but here we go. It's, you know,
You'll do great.
I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. So again, you guys, as always, you guys are just empowering great people. We're blessed that you guys come here every week, and it's an honor and a pleasure to know you guys and to love you guys and to be in the circle of great people here. And we love you so much. So thank you so much, you guys.
Right.
What's that?
Your crown is on the way.
Oh, love you guys. Bye. Bye, everybody.
Keeping me safe and sound. And when I fall, you tied around.